Hi, everybody, and welcome to Talk to Rozay, episode 89. On this show, we talk about everything going on in the world, good, bad, raggedy, and wonderful. And we're just going to get the show started. So, first of all, I want to thank everybody that tunes in, all my guests, everybody that likes, shares, and subscribe, everybody that watches the repost, and everybody that just tells other people to watch. So, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you in advance for watching the repost and pressing that like button. So, I will let my guests introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I am Madam. I am the co host for tonight, as well as we join my show on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on Melon and Madam. Also, buy my books on Amazon. Thank you and good night. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hope y'all hump today.
No.
Hello, my name is Tanya. I'm from Midland, Texas, and I'm the guest for the evening. And I'm happy to be here with these ladies. I'm ready to get this discussion going.
Yes, yes, yes. So, how was everybody's weekend?
Mine's
I don't even remember.
Mine's was great. Mine was actually pretty good, very relaxing and therapeutic. I was able to clear my mind, and I had been kind of focused on what's going on in the world, but I had to give that to God and come on and keep on living my life.
Amen. Won't he do it? Won't he do
Mm.
it? I am done. I completed Kiara's prom. I am officially done. Blood of Jesus. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. 3 more graduations and I'm done.
3 more.
3 more.
Right.
But at
Um,
least they're graduating.
right. And this weekend, I had a good weekend. I did my cousin's 5K walk run, which I put the video up, so I'll let you guys watch it. And it was really good, and it made me feel like I needed to go back to the gym because after I did that, I went to sleep for like 5 hours after that, like
Shut
a deep
up.
sleep.
It was
I
such a
was
good
like,
turnout, though.
yeah,
I was, it was a good turn.
it was a really good turnout. So I was really proud of her for that. So let me just show y'all the video before I forget.
Okay.
I think I took the one with the music off because I was like, let me not get in trouble. Hold on. Tell mommy. At the 5K lap, Sophia's already out of breath. We haven't even made it around the first lap yet.
Leave me alone, Rozay.
His last.
That's
So
so
that
good.
yeah,
Congratulations, Kevin.
yes, that was oh, here go Bonita too.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone. You welcome. um it was a really, really good turnout, so I'm proud of her. And I was like, each year, it'll get bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That was my weekend. Sunday I didn't do nothing. Oh yeah, I took Amir to take his little graduation picture. So
Oh.
I'll see how those turn out tomorrow when I go pick them up. When they take the graduation pictures, I'm so used to them just taking them like from the waist up. So I had him on a t-shirt under there and some shorts and his Crocs. Why
Mm-hmm.
they took pictures of his whole body? I said, you know what?
They could have told y'all that.
I
The
know,
one
and I
time you don't dress them all the way.
exactly, and I was like, you know what? I said, I don't even care. I said, that's him in kindergarten. That's what he like. He like wearing Crocs every day. Like, so we'll remember him how he was. I said, this, whatever, whatever.
Give it
So,
to Jesus, Mom. Give it to
right.
Jesus.
So that was what we did on Sunday. And then that was it. And he's out. He started summer school Tuesday. And then my last day of work, well, for the school year is tomorrow. And then I'll work summer school too. So,
Okay. Cool.
and then I want to say happy birthday to all the little Geminis out there, or the June babies. So,
Gemini. Gemini.
yeah, I have two. And I forgot. I'm gonna have to do it next week because my mind been so scattered and I'm forgetting people. So I have two of them that was yesterday, and that was my niece Jojo, and then my godson August. So both of their birthday is June 3rd. So happy birthday to
Oh,
you
happy
too.
Happy
birthday.
birthday, babies.
Yeah, my cousin, I have another cousin, Sharika. Her birthday is at the end of May, but she's still a Gemini too. So I got to do my little June things over. But happy birthday to all the Geminis out there, you little crazy people, split personality people, because Geminis are split personality.
Yes.
Hi, Tia. Yes, and happy birthday. And Shatia did a good job with them. So
We did.
let me go right into our little hot topic so we can get to the main topic.
Okay.
So my Black History moment is the first woman drafted into the NBA. And I was like, this is stuff like, how don't we know none of this stuff? Like, I'm just really floored at all the stuff that we don't know. So
Born in a small town in South Mississippi in 1955. Became a great female basketball player. At one time was the greatest in the United States. As a matter of fact, the New Orleans Jazz drafted Lucy, the first woman to be officially drafted by a men's basketball team. I don't know what else to say about her. She's retired now and living a happy life.
How would you know?
Because I'm Lucy. I was taller than everyone else in my class, 6'3". They would tease me, long and tall, and that's all. That I was tall and I couldn't do anything else. That wasn't true. I became a member of the team, but I didn't know how to play. I had to learn how to play defense, offense, pivot. I did develop a shot. It just came natural. I remember one game, I had scored 40 points. Their whole team had not scored 40 points. My whole attitude changed about my height. It became an asset. Long and tall, and that's not all.
After winning a silver medal, Harris returned to the U.S. and became the only woman drafted by an NBA team.
You were 13-round draft choice from the New Orleans Jazz, a pro basketball team. You didn't take the offer. Why not?
No, I didn't think first that they were serious.
You know, that opportunity to continue to play just wasn't there for her because she was a woman. And I think anybody can look at that and see how deeply unfair and tragic that loss is, not only for her, but for all of us.
I wanted to keep playing, but there was no place to go.
Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy. It's so many things that are new for Black people that it is hard to keep up, because you don't imagine that we're still not in so many places today. We're going to still have more things that's the first Black. That's crazy.
Yeah, to know that. Like, did anybody in the comments, did y'all know that about her being the first drafted woman to the NBA? At first, when I was looking at it, I'm thinking, in my mind, I was thinking WNBA.
Me
So
too.
I'm like, and then when I listened to it again, I was like, the
They
NBA?
said, man, right.
Yes.
I caught it the second time they said it. I was like, wait, they're saying NBA. Then where's the W? Yeah.
Well, I was wondering how much playing time she actually got.
Right.
She didn't take it. She
Oh,
didn't
she
take
didn't
the deal.
take it.
No.
That's right.
But
didn't
just
take
to be able to be drafted.
Because they probably wouldn't have let her take they probably would have barely let her play.
She probably would have felt like it was unsafe. You got to be around all the men and stuff like that, especially at that time. I think that was really safe and smart, but sad because there was no WNBA right there.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yep. So that was our Black History moment for today. And then we'll get into the hot topics. I have a few of them. First, how many of you guys know somebody, or you guys went to Job Corps? Do you guys know anybody? You do? Did
My
you
whole
go to Job
family.
Corps?
Yes. I went to
really?
Job Corps in Roswell, New Mexico. My
I
cousin.
guess I do know somebody.
We also went to, I have several cousins that went in Albuquerque and in Oklahoma.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it really made a difference for me.
Really?
It did.
And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to get into. So let me read it. So the Donald Trump administration forces all Job Corps centers to close by June 30th. So the Trump administration just announced it's shutting down all Job Corps centers nationwide by June 30th. The Department of Labor is canceling all contracts with Job Corps centers throughout the U.S. This program has helped more than 3 million at-risk youth complete their high school diplomas or earn their GED, complete a trade certification, and or find job placement. More than that, it provides housing, food, childcare, and a place to call home. Many of those affected will be sent back to the streets with no shelter, abusive home lives, or just potential they have for a better life. I think that I put a video up for this one. Let me see. Maybe I didn't. Oh no, maybe I didn't do the Job Corps one.
Why are they getting rid of it though?
You remember how they were saying that the Trump administration, anything that has to do with the Department of Labor and the education, they just trying to get rid of stuff. I think that they just don't want. They really ain't giving a reason.
In life.
Yeah, they're not really giving a reason to shut everything down. They just doing stuff because they want to. Because at the end of the day, if they're getting trades and stuff like that, remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that it's almost better to get a trade now than to go to college, because at least you know that you have a job waiting.
Do something fast.
A lot of people that are going to college are getting these degrees and then in debt and then can't even find a job after that. And then if they do get a job in what they went to school for, they paying them pennies. So it's like, why not go get a trade somewhere? But
it sounds like they're getting rid of anything that is a cost that does not have a because you can still go to trade school, but you pay for that. It sounds like Job Corps is more like a ROP extension of ROP, so that you can go and because they mentioned shelter. So it must be like living there similar to on a campus, but you're not paying for it because they're trying to save you, which is great for the community. and keeps kids
But
out of
they
trouble.
they still they I think they do have to pay a little bit to those people, but
No.
they pay a little and then I think they save money for them so when they get out of Job Corps, they have a lump sum that they can have. It don't it isn't that how it
Okay,
works?
so they pay you. You get
Okay,
paid
you.
every two
Okay.
weeks. Back when I went, we made like 30 cents an hour. But all of our food was provided, our shelter, our health care, our education
Oh,
was
okay.
provided, and you also took a trade. You were even able to go to the college. I graduated from Roswell Junior College with an associate's. I got my GED from Job Corps, and I learned building and apartment maintenance. I learned carpentry, and I also became a CNA in Job Corps, as to where it took me off the streets from selling drugs. I was about to go to prison, and someone told me about Job Corps, and I told my parents I need some help. I need to go there, and they took me there. um, Family could come and visit. They teach you life skills. They prepare you to get ready to be out in the free world. What I
Mhm.
think the Trump administration is doing is they're removing anything that educates you and that helps you, and that's keeping our community
Yep.
up under their thumb,
Yep.
because they're dumbing down society, and
Yep.
we're supposed to be leveling up to we're not even close to being educated like China, but
Mm-mm.
you're closing
No.
everything down that's beneficial to the community. Like most people are taking tech jobs.
Right.
A lot of people don't know how to do stuff like plumbing and air
Mhm.
conditioning and that kind of stuff. So it's not even like they don't even have shop and homemaking in school like
Mm-mm.
we had it
Like
when
they
we
used
were
to
children.
home ec and all that. And
They
I
don't
seen
even have
a post.
RP no more.
Yeah, and I seen a post last week where it said that for plumbing and I think construction workers, it was I know it was plumbing and something else. They were saying that they need over 500,000 of them. And they were
Hmm.
saying how much money you can make it. Can't remember which other one it was, but it's like, why would y'all take
HVAC.
that? Yeah, HVAC,
Hmm.
and they make all these people make a lot of money. You can make a
They
lot
make
of money.
over six figures. And that
Yes,
was back
And they
in
are now
2012 when
because
I did it. Mm-hmm.
they are in demand now. I called for an air conditioner and I had a 6 week wait because they're so
mhm.
behind. And then I called for a plumber and he charged me $280 an hour.
I had to. I'm renting, and my tub was starting to over come up, and I
Closet.
tried naked and everything to do it by myself, and it was because the tub that was getting plugged up was the one upstairs. So I'm snaking it, but it ain't really going down as deep as it can because it's the
Mm-hmm.
bathroom upstairs. I had to call a plumber because I called the rental company, and they told me I had to wait until the owner got whoever he wanted to come, and the one he wanted to come, he was out of town. So I said, so what
Hmm.
is my son supposed to do? Which I did have another bathroom I could put him in, but it was still that water that was coming up was starting to stink. So I let
Mm-hmm.
it sit in there for like 3 days, and I called a plumber. All I swear to God, the plumber was in here for more than 20 minutes, and I had to pay him $300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how
It's
mine was.
very
He was
expensive.
here 15 minutes and
Yep.
it
It's
was
very
four
And
hundred
expensive.
all he did
dollars.
was snake it, but
Snake
he
the
had the
main
long
line.
snake. Yep. All he just had. I'm like, wow. So when
We
they
yeah.
said that, so that's why I was like, why would Trump want to take this away? But I think they want us. I don't know what they want out of
I
us to
They
do
think they
this.
want to
want
they
us
want to
to
hurt
get
our
out
at-risk
here.
youth.
We were going to get out here, and our youth are going to get out of control. The crime rate is going to go up, and they're allowing felons to buy guns. They've taken away our right to our homes, and so they're setting us up to kill each other.
I would agree.
We're set up to eliminate each other. They passed that law in September that if someone comes to your house, you can't put them out. So my neighbor had people squatting in the back part of his house, and he would continuously call the police. And the police told him he couldn't throw their things away because or he would be arrested, and he can't make them move because it was a new law in September. My neighbor was to the point he felt like they were a threat. His children weren't safe. So he was like, I'm just going to pull my gun on them. They came and took my neighbor to jail, and those people got to stay at his house. because the police don't get involved in that kind of stuff. It's not.
And that's for me squatting.
against the law.
I never understood squatting because that's like, okay,
I never heard of squatting on property though, Ro. While you on the property, I never heard of that one. That's a new extension.
The only ones I heard on the property is like Airbnb, like
Right.
those kind of ones.
No,
But
I mean when you stay there, like they did that in the people's backyard. Have you heard of that? That's a new extension.
But I still don't understand how they even have rights. Like that's just like if I
That's
don't pay
silly.
my rent in 30 days, y'all putting me out.
Yes.
But a squatter can stay there and have rights and not have to pay anything. Like,
yes,
I don't understand that. How do they have more rights than me, and I have to pay rent or a mortgage somewhere? But they can stay somewhere for free. Like that never made sense to me.
If
they want people to kill each other.
If you allow them to be on your property more than 2 to 3 days, it's a civil matter, and you can't put them out. And I was so outdone when the cop was like, if you move his things or throw them in the garbage, you will be arrested.
And it used to be 30 days. Now it's 3.
Yeah. And if you let someone come spend the night with you and they pay one bill or buy any groceries and keep the receipt, you have to do a full eviction to get rid of them in Texas. A whole eviction. So they could stay in your house until it's time to go to court for free. And there's nothing you can do.
But we get put out after 30 days.
Well, in California, if somebody got mail coming to your house and it extends, they could do the same thing.
They could do the same thing.
Okay, so let's go on to the next topic.
Okay.
Trying to I was like 5 minutes late.
Thank you for
so let's
learning.
go to the next one. So this one was about a California track star. She was stripped of her state title after using a fire extinguisher to celebrate her winning this title. And I just feel like,
where did she get that idea from? What is wrong with
they said somebody else had did it before. Let's just did it before. Oh wait.
I worked so hard for that title.
The greatest moment of 16-year-old Clara Adams' young career taken away from her because of a celebration. After winning the 400-meter event at the CIF State Championships with a time of 53.24 seconds, her dream of winning a state title went up in flames after celebrating using a fire extinguisher.
When she blew the fire extinguisher, the opponents were gone. That was our moment of celebration, and the CIF officials made that about them. The crowd went crazy. They loved it. The booth, CIF booth went crazy. They loved it. But those few guys in those jackets, they took offense to it, didn't like it, and they made a decision based on emotions.
The North Salinas High sophomore grabbed a fire extinguisher from her father and coach and extinguished off her spikes. The CIF deemed her celebration unsportsmanlike, stripping her of her title. It's a celebration made famous by American sprint icon Maurice Green, who enjoyed her paying homage to him and thinks she should get her state title back.
When I heard, like, because it happened and then people just started calling me, oh, this girl who just won the 400 redid your celebration. I was like, huh, what? If it was away from everyone and not really interfering with anybody, I would say reinstate her.
One clear infraction was Clara's father hopping the railing onto the track after the race, but says he only did that because of how CIF officials were treating his daughter.
There's a CIF rule saying you can't come over the wall, you can't be on the infield, which is a rule respected. But at this point, I explained before about being a coach and a father wearing the different hats. I saw an official grab my daughter by the arm. They were yelling in her face. When he grabbed her by the arm, I went over the wall at that point. I'm father now. I'm not coach anymore. I'm over the wall.
Now, the true fastest 400-meter runner in the state is back home without a medal. And even if the CIF is to reinstate her as the champion, she never got that moment of being crowned a champion.
Even if everything goes in my favor, in regards to like getting my title back, I'll still never get that moment back, like standing on the podium as a sophomore. I'll never get that back because they took it from me.
Clara was also disqualified from competing in the 200-meter race because of that celebration. And we did some research, analyzed 20 years of state championships, found 0 other times where someone was disqualified and stripped of a title for unsportsmanlike conduct. We reached out to the CIF, haven't heard anything back. We also put up a poll on our Instagram, Dan, asking our viewers if they believed she should have been banned for this or not. Over 1,000 votes and counting, 87% of people saying she shouldn't have been banned for this. And the support from the community has been overwhelming so far.
And she's an immense talent, and she's only a sophomore.
Yeah, she's going to come back stronger and better than ever. They better watch out for Clara Adams.
You bet. All right. Thank you very much, Jay.
So my question is,
me too.
do y'all think that she should have been stripped of her title? I don't think so. I mean,
No.
I don't
know because I don't know the rules. But after you put your hands on my child, you debunked all of that. So now I'm suing you because you put your hands on my child, and that's assault. And I had to come save my child. I'm so hurt. I can't believe this happened to me. I'm having nightmares. This is horrible.
I don't think they should have done that. That's her celebration. And those kids work hard. They practice hard and they go hard. Let them celebrate their win as long as it doesn't affect anyone. You can't control everything.
Right. China said, I don't see the problem with it, honestly. The CIF picks and chooses what they let slide. They had a trans athlete share the podium for a second place with another girl. Makes no sense. Oh, yeah. I would be fighting.
So if China is chiming in, then I can say, because she plays sports. I don't know what the rules are. But if that's not a big deal, because some people were saying something about she shouldn't have touched the fire extinguisher. And I was like, what if a fire would have happened or something like that? So I'm like, is it illegal? Was it a safety
fire extinguisher? Like, y'all.
Oh, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's why I was like,
if she got fined for it or something, or they would have put a slap on the wrist. But to strip her of her title, I think that's unfair. And then to not let her run in the next one. But she is a sophomore because at least she has next year to do it again. But it's still like it's not the same. They just China said they pick and choose who they want to do that to, because we know if it was somebody else, they would not have done that. Right? And
the fact that they have no other infractions for that same reason is very crazy. Did you hear what they said? That no other. So you just made that one up? I don't understand.
Yeah, they made it up. They make them up as they go.
I was sued because you put your hands on me. As soon as you put your hands on me, I'm suing.
Yeah, so that I just didn't. They
really don't like us, huh?
No, not at all.
They hate our guts,
and they not like us.
Not like us at all. Okay, so let me get into my last one before we get into our. And I felt bad for them for this, and that's the only reason why I keep going back and forth on if I hate when my phone do that. Sorry, you guys. The ISIS, they arrest 150 illegal immigrants in Florida on a construction site. So ISIS came out in Florida and they arrested 150 illegal immigrants, all at a construction site, all working. Trump said when he passed this bill that they were supposed to arrest gangbangers. Who else did they say? People that were a threat. And thugs, I guess, whatever. Those people was at work. That was 150 people that was at work. Like, who do you think is going to take over? Who do you think is going to take over? I just think that it's unfair. They're at work. They at work. Like, who do y'all think is going to take over? Do y'all think that it's fair that they're doing this? Yes or no? Let me know.
I don't think it's right. I don't think they thought this through, because there's a lot of jobs that we just aren't going to do. I'm not going to pick watermelons. I'm not going to pick strawberries. And most of the Hispanic men are great carpenters and construction workers. So the jobs that you strip these people of, you don't see anybody else running to apply for them. I'm sure they haven't got an application to replace those people, because that's not a job that everybody wants to do. So it's affecting the economy in ways that he doesn't even understand. Right. And I understand it has to get worse before it gets better, but I don't see the better surfacing at any time, because the children are taught to use computers, not use their hands. So the ones coming out of school, nobody is prepared to pick up those trades that those people have.
And it's
And
just still unfair. It's unfair. Like you said, we're not gonna get out there. It is some people that's gonna get out there, but it's not gonna be like them. Like, you arrested 150 people that were working. It's not like they're out here trying to steal from people and do something. They're trying to have a livelihood to take care of their family. I think that is unfair. But then I be feeling like I go from side to side, feeling sad, and then be like, oh well, because they voted for him. So that's how I be feeling. Like I feel sad because I feel that that's wrong. But then I'll be like, well, they the ones who voted for him. So, and they thought there wasn't nothing gonna happen when he said that he was going to do this. Like, it's not like he lied. That's one thing I can say Trump don't do is lie. He didn't lie. He said he was gonna do all this, but y'all still voted for him because y'all was on some racist stuff, period, point blank. And now look what happened. So, but I still have a heart and be like, it's still sad because they have families. That's the only thing. I just go back and forth on this situation. But I feel like, so who's going to do this now? Who's going to take over these jobs that all these people were willing to work that we are not going to do? Who's going to do it now?
To me, I personally don't care. I tapped out.
The money.
I tapped out, and I mean
money to take their jobs. They're gonna want more benefits,
and they're not higher pay.
And higher pay.
Well, it depends. They get paid very well. If these men weren't just lazy, we've conditioned our people to do the tech stuff and stop doing the hands-on stuff because you guys gave it away. So that's the reason why. Are more union people getting paid very well? They are. They're getting paid very well. Not on a construction site. They're not being paid bad. The point is, you knew that they'd been illegal this whole time. I personally don't care. I listen for what state you guys say first, and then I comment. Like when I saw somebody was in Pomona and they was waiting outside their building, that hit home because our Mexicans here, we love them like family. They are a part of our family, and we voted accordingly. Those other people that voted, you voted because you didn't think it would impact you. So to me, that could never leave my brain that you didn't give a fuck about women. You didn't care about other immigrants or migrants because you thought you were better. And that in turn translates how you treat us. Because those same Mexicans out there on those job sites, those are the same ones that fuck with my husband every day. So I really don't care because they need to get off their high horse. And if it took them to get hit by what you voted for this. Like in mass, you voted for this. Is it going to hurt us? Of course it is. And I hope we can come together and figure out something for ourselves. But do I feel bad for them? I don't. You literally voted that way because you thought you were better, not to even think about yourself. The motherfucker put kids in cages before he left last time. How did we care about that more than y'all cared about that? So no, y'all fucked it up, and now y'all double fucking it up because he ain't even getting the ones that should be gone right there in Venezuela, staying in hotels, being protected. You can't touch them, but you went to a job site. You going to schools. You going to your easy target places. That's just like him. I don't feel sorry. I'm no ways tired, and I had to be for this time. But again, listen, y'all, it's because I don't look. Because if I see their faces, child, it'd be a different story. But I don't look. If it's California, I care.
Yeah, it's just me having a heart. Sometimes it be feeling
once
like
you see it's hard.
I feel sad. Okay, China said, wait, did you see ICE was waiting outside the immigration hearing and taking
exactly China?
Yeah.
They waiting at schools, China, literally at schools, elementary schools. They waiting to, like your point at ICE, they down in LA. Notice we don't have that many more street vendors no more. They going for the easy target, but it's literally places where they can come and go here for refuge, and they put them up in hotels. Know that they are there. Go clear them out first. Go, because they're the only reason I say that is because they're the ones with all the crime stuff like that, and they posting it on social media. They can't even walk in there and arrest him. How? That's not fair. But we know that this man don't play fair. He want numbers to make himself look good. But they knew this before they voted this way. They didn't help us vote. They voted this way. They hurt us.
And actually, when I was in Vegas, I watched some news, and Vegas has become a sanctuary city. They can go to Vegas, and they can help them get their documents, help them get a job. Vegas has a plan for these people, and it is a sanctuary city, and they can't be deported from Vegas.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, you
Yeah,
guys.
it was I saw it on the news the other day when I was there.
Okay, the self-care lab said that's 150 families that also suffered. I also wonder who hired them and chose not to protect their employees. I have several emotions. They're bullying for them at cheaper rates. Shake my head. I thought about that too, but I want to say it was this person who hired them. He was hot. He was hot because
Yeah.
he was saying like these are good workers, but I guess I don't know. Like they said, you do know that they are here illegal. I can't even say illegally.
How would
But
they protect them? Self-care,
yeah, how would
because
they?
I know the schools. Remember when it happened with the schools
They was
shut the
telling
school
us
down
we don't
and
have to
didn't
say
allow them on the
anything.
property. But how do you do that on a construction site? How do you be able to protect them? Maybe they could use some tips on how to protect their employees. I'm not opposed to not being taken away, but
I know Shatia said that on her husband's job site, somebody was playing and said that they had called ICE, and all of the people that was illegal didn't come to work the next day, and it was like basically all their workers didn't come, and the bosses was like, if they find out who said that they was gonna call, that they getting fired
as they
because
should.
they
That's
really,
not funny.
yeah, it's not funny, and that's
That's
not a
not
game
funny.
that you play.
No.
Okay, so that was it for our hot topic. So now we're going to get into our main topic, which I said it's a hot topic right now because of the Diddy case. So it's the surviving DV, because I don't know if I can really say the real word. So if I guess you guys should know what DV means.
I think you could say domestic violence.
Oh,
I think
okay. So
We could
the
say domestic violence.
surviving domestic violence. So we all know we have seen this over and over in our face the past months with Diddy and Cassie, and we want to know. Well, I want to know because some people don't care. I want to know what made her stay if she was getting beat up like that. What makes you stay and want to go back to your abuser? Like in my mind, I don't get it. And when you're able to get away free, why do you still go back? Like, why? What makes you love this person? So we have our guest on here tonight. She's gonna tell us her story, and then we'll be able to ask her questions. So if you guys have anything that you want to ask, just put it in the comments, and we'll get to you. And make sure you guys press the like button. So we'll let her tell her story, and you can start right now.
Okay, I've been married twice. In my second marriage, I actually met Prince Charming. He was everything that I could have possibly wanted in a man, and he showed it for about 2 years. About the second year, he came home one day and he slapped me. Now I'm a fighter. I'll get out and box with anybody, and I'm not a loser. I'm not afraid of anything. But when he slapped me, it it didn't set in what had happened. I felt so hurt that he would hurt me. So I didn't fight him back. So for years this went on, and I kept saying, what's going on? And he finally told me 3 or 4 years later, when I met you, you told me exactly the type of man you wanted. And that's what I gave you. He said, that man don't exist. All of that was a lie. And I'm going to start being the man that um, I truly am. Well, at this point, I was so in love with the man that I met. The more the beatings came, the more I prayed for the man that I met to come back, because I loved him unconditionally. I would never fight him back, and he would jump on me, and I would take a shower, and I would climb right in the bed with him and listen to him cry and apologize. Um, he jumped on me one day. He On my birthday. He was smoking K2, and he asked me for $20, and I told him that I wasn't going to give it to him. He took my laptop and he smashed it across my head. He kicked out our television and he started to beat me up. He dragged me out of the house and put me in the trunk of the car. because he was going to take me to the ATM to get him $20. So I managed to get out the car, and we're fighting in the front yard, and the neighbors never came to help. They closed their doors. The ones that were watering their yard, they never came to help. And I came in the house and I ran and I jumped out of the window behind me, and I called the police at their house. Now, mind you, I'm running down the street naked and no one still stopped to help me, but I still loved him. He went to jail and I couldn't put him out because this is community property, and the restraining order said he couldn't be here, but Texas law says that we're married. I had to let him come stay. I let him back in and I let him come stay. And I would cry and I would beg him to please stop being this way. Well, he told me that I was a weak woman and that he was going to treat me the way I deserved to be. And I'm a very strong, dominant woman, but in this, I've never been in a situation like this. So my story changed a little bit with Cassie's. I didn't run. I didn't try to get away. I became the abuser. So at this point, I'm tired and I've had enough. So we could be riding down the street and I'd reach over and slap him in his mouth. And we would be at the grocery store boxing in the grocery store. At this point, I'm so strong that I'm so angry that I can whoop him now. So now he is afraid of me and I become the abuser. And I go to jail for domestic violence. Because now I'm tired of hitting him hitting on me. So once it got so bad to where I could lay in the bed and tell him, this is how I'm going to take you out if you put your hands on me again. This is how I'm going to deal with you if you put your hands on me again. And what it did is it made me angry and it turned me into someone else. So with the Diddy story, I didn't have to work. I've always been a kept woman. I've always had driven nice cars and I've always had a nice home. So when they keep saying they stayed for the money and for the popularity and to become stars and to prevent from being embarrassed, they didn't expose the story. Well, now Cassie has children and now y'all want to put the story out. Whereas y'all should have put the story out before you had children. I did go to I did go to Safe Place. I did file charges on him for domestic violence, but guess what? I loved him. I dropped the charges and told the police it was all a misunderstanding because I loved him. There were days when I would see him with other girls riding in our car. I would block the car off, snatch the girl out the car, and I'd beat her up. And then I'd cry and I'd ask him, why are you doing this? Am I not pretty enough? Do you not love me? I mean, it really tore down my self-esteem. At that point, I was a victim. I was a victim mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I couldn't pull myself out the hole. As a matter of fact, to be honest, he showed up at my house about a week ago and he cried because he wanted his wife back. And had my situation been different, I would have let him in. I would have let him in because I loved him. And the love that I had for him is unconditional. So I kept forgiving him for the things that he was doing to me. A trauma bond to me is stronger than soul ties. So we also have a soul tie, but we have a trauma bond as well. But I also have that his mother has passed away, and so I'm a mother figure as well. So my story, sometimes I say it's a little different, and I'm sure there's women out there that can relate. But then I'm sure there's women that are like, that's crazy. There's no way I would have went back. Um, but I stayed because I'm gonna get my lick back. The Bible doesn't say it, but I say it. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So one day I woke up and I hit him in the head with a folding chair while he was asleep. And when he came around the corner, I caught him with an iron. And I beat him with an iron. And I got dressed for school and I left him there unconscious and went on to school. That was my last straw for me. My aunt called me and said, I think that he is no longer with us. The ambulance are trying to revive him. He made it because he's been here. But now it's like he's used to me abusing him. Right now, if I see him somewhere, he'll taunt me to try to make me hit him because he's gotten so used to me putting my hands on him. And we've been divorced about 10 years now. And the trauma bond has us still connected, if that makes sense.
Cousin, I have a question.
Okay.
First, everybody, this is my cousin. This is my cousin. So this shit is crazy. So I interviewed my own cousin a couple of years ago, and I thought that everything was over. We were talking the other day, ex called. My first question is, cousin, what do you mean that if you weren't in this place how do you still love him and would take him back?
I can't explain the love that I have for him. Now honestly, I don't know if what I feel is um you fell off when we got a divorce. So is it that I enjoy seeing you scraping at the bottom and you need me? Or is it that I really love you? Or have I become that toxic from this relationship? Because the abuse will make you toxic. Um, at some point, I felt like if you didn't hit me, we didn't argue, and he didn't hit me, then he didn't love me. If he was nice to me, then that means he was cheating. Because
So with a DV person, if they're nice, then that means they're cheating? Is everything the reverse?
Mm-hmm. When they're not in a cheating relationship with somebody else, they don't have the energy and time to fight and beat on you. They'll start a simple argument to walk out the door. But when they're involved with someone else, they don't have time for you. But when they are angry, they have things going on, and you're the only person they can take it out on. And at this point, he's taking care of me. I have no value. I'm not bringing anything to the table. So he does whatever he wants. And at the time, where am I going to go? Whose whose couch am I going to sleep on? What am I going to do? I have nothing because everything he paid for and everything we had was basically his.
See, I still don't get it. I guess it's just in my mind. I don't get it.
Well, I don't think you'll get things. I think it's about understanding what somebody else says. It's not getting it really.
I still don't understand. Like, I'm really trying to understand, but that is just crazy to me. Like,
that's why you won't understand.
Yeah.
See, before I went through it, I'm always the person that say, I wish somebody would, but they
right.
I'm not putting up with that. I'm a strong woman. I've always worked 3 jobs and taken care of myself. I've never had a man that I was in love with to hit me. So what it did is it sent me to a place of unknown. I didn't know how to defend myself with him. Now I would still go out on those streets and terrorize the streets. But when I came home, I just couldn't make myself fight him back. And the craziest thing I said was, my cousin asked me, is he hitting you? And I finally said, yeah. And she was like, you can whoop him though. why won't you whoop him? And I said, because if I whoop him, then I'm going to lose respect for him. It never dawned on me that I shouldn't be respecting him anyway.
Anyways,
But
I didn't cut
I
that.
still wanted to have this. I wanted my marriage to work. I wanted the man that I craved was the man that I missed, that left. It wasn't
and
this
that
man that
psychologist she
Kind of
said
like a
that.
drug.
Yeah,
it's like a drug.
she said that they long for the person that they fell in love with. So even when they're being abused, they stay because they feel like if they stay and maybe they'll get back to the person that they was before when they first met them. That lady did say that.
And I
But I
would
think that's
always
across the
say,
board. If you stay with a man that consistently cheats, you stay because you want the old version you had back. If
Mm-hmm.
you stay with what it's across the board. So that lady got on my nerves in case you didn't notice. But that shit is, I have another question. It
okay,
never occurred in your mind to say that you have family. You could have came home. You could have came to California. Nothing said get away from him. Everything says stay and fight.
no, because I was taught to you fight for your marriage, no matter what you were going through. You fight for your marriage. What happens in your house stays in your
Stays
house.
in the house.
So absolutely none of my family knew what was going on. When they did start knowing, they were saying Tanya is provoking him. She's instigating the situation because, again, I'm a fighter. If we're out there on them streets and somebody get out of line, I'll pop you and I'm gonna whoop you and go on about my business. I
Right.
could not make myself come to this point. Now, before I hit him with the iron, my cousin was in prison and he called and he said, I heard that he's jumping on you. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, when I get out, I'm going to take care of it. And I said, no, I'll be fine. Well, my cousin is like 6'10", and he bench presses about 600 pounds. And he showed up at my house one day and he said, you can either whoop him or I'm going to whoop him and I'm going to whoop you. So I came in the house. He was laying on the couch and I said, I need you to put your tennis shoes on. And he said, where are we going? I said, I'm going to whoop your ass today. So when we went outside and he spoke to my cousin and my cousin spoke, so I hit him. And he was like, what? Oh, you want to show out. So I hit him again. And he was like, I hate to do this, but sometimes she got to be put in her place. And my cousin told me, he said, you better not let him whoop you. And I made that man fight me with everything he had in me until my cousin said, that's enough. So the next day, we had several clothing stores and shoe stores. And the next day, a customer said, what happened to your face? And he said, I was in a car wreck. And one of his friends said, no, you weren't in a car wreck. Tanya got tired of you. And she whooped your ass. And he was like, man, I didn't even know. He said, I didn't know she fight that hard. And he was like, we all knew. We just was understanding. We didn't understand why she wouldn't take you back. Even if we were on the streets together and somebody got out of line, I would say, respect the game as it's played, move around. I would always defend him. I would get in the middle of people and be like, that's not happening. But we would come home and I would let him jump on me.
That is crazy.
I would not defend myself to him at all until the end. I went to see a therapist, and the therapist actually told me as well, whoop him. She said, you're so angry, you would whoop him. And that's what I did. And it really made it worse because then, like I said, I
You
became
lost
the
the
abuser.
respect.
I lost the respect. And I became very aggressive and very abusive in front of his parents, his sisters, anybody could get it because y'all don't understand who I live with every day. I live with a monster, but on
But
the
they
street,
try to say something to you. His family.
That
Oh,
was my question.
his family tried to jump on me. They came to my house one time, at least 13 deep, and he was sitting on the car crying in the yard, crying, and he was telling his sisters, "Y'all can't whoop her. Y'all can't whoop her. Y'all should let me handle this." And I stood on the porch, and this same little smirk I got now, I told him, "Y'all gonna have to bring a little more Chicago because y'all gonna need some help." Because
My
it was
family
actually
don't
my
have no
Christmas
sense.
reunion, and all of my family was here in my house sleep the day they came. So I was like, y'all gonna need a little more help. This ain't what y'all want to do. And he pulled his sisters to the side and he said, "I can't even whoop her. That's not, y'all don't want to mess with her."
So
And
not he never. So
So
okay,
did they leave? Did they leave?
right?
They
oh
Did
say,
yeah,
he ever
they
stop?
left. Huh?
Did he ever stop? Because it seems to me that would be back to our original question, but on the reverse.
Mhm.
If he was putting his hands on you under the impression that you could not, and then he fucked around and found out, why
Mhm.
would he still keep doing things like that? Why couldn't y'all just be like call it start over with it? Because you don't want to leave. Then why couldn't you just start it over, go to therapy together, and move forward? Or by then was it done for you because you lost the respect and it was just you still
Oh,
staying, but you don't care?
okay, so let me clarify something first. I had already lost the respect. And I didn't want to get married. Um, I didn't want to get married. He ended up getting in trouble, and the judge, he was using my car, and he got in trouble. Well, since everything was in the car was in my car, they were going to send me to prison. So we had to get married in order for him not to be able to testify against me and vice versa. When we went before the judge told me either this is the worst day of your life or you're the happiest day of your life because of your crying so hard. And I just kind of put my head down and I said, "Sir, I don't want to get married, but I have to." We got married so that I wouldn't go to jail. So at that point, I was like, "Okay, God, there has to be a reason why I had to marry him." Because at this point, I'm going to church Monday through Sunday. I'm all in prayer, breakfast, revivals, retreats. I'm all in because I have to have this peace. That's the only place I found peace. Um, so he started to manipulate the situation. I would always say, "Just leave." But the police told him he didn't have to leave. I would ask him to move out. He would stay gone 3 days and he'd come home and bring the police. And they would say, "If you throw his clothes out, you're going to go to jail. This is community property." Um, then he began to mentally torment me, and it became mental abuse. When I was in school in Florida, I was in Florida, and the doorbell rang, and we weren't together. This is like 9 years after marriage, divorce.
Mhm.
We weren't together. I answered the door from the doorbell, and the police are here, and they're gonna put me out because I haven't paid him rent in 7 years. And I was like, "Ma'am, go ahead and kick my door in." I said, "That's my house. I got it in our divorce, but I want y'all to know there's going to be some problems when I come back, when I make it back to Texas." He does stuff like this every time I go out of town. Um, the police talked to him, and the police left, and there he was trying to kick the door open. And I told him, when I get back to Midland, there's going to be problems. Um, I guess he thought about it because at that moment he stopped kicking the door and he left. But he's reported my license to the Texas Board of Nursing. He's called my job and I've lost jobs. But back here, somewhere, I met a wonderful man that loved me like no one ever loved me. That he was emotional, he was affectionate. He was everything I desired, and I still was in love with the man that I met. I'm not in love with this creature. I'm waiting on the man that I met to show back up, and I've been praying for him to show back up, and I believe God is going to change him. This is what I believe. And so I put my faith in God that he's going to give me the man back that I fell in love with. And that's why I kept hanging on that old piece of tape that never tore.
For you,
I don't,
the blood of Jesus.
I don't hate
So,
him.
do you think so? With
What do you
the
mean you
with
don't hate him?
I don't hate him. He came about a year ago and he had no money and nowhere to go. I fixed him breakfast. He still had clothes here. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I went in the room and told him, my ex-husband is in here. Do you mind? And he said, no, go in there and get some closure. And I said, okay. We sat down and talked like normal people. He said he didn't have any gas. I gave him some money, and he went on his way.
this is so so we should give Cassie some grace then. We should give her grace?
I give her grace for staying because of love. I don't give her the grace for waiting until they got in a financial bind
That
to
part,
file
cousin. Call it
charges.
what it is.
Because in some of the testimony, like the man she's currently married to, they're in a video together having sex, and Diddy is watching. There is another man that testified that she gave him the money and told him to urinate on her.
Yeah.
So there are things that she participated in,
right,
that, as well as the abuse, that she was having fun along with Diddy. We were partying together consensually, and you were embarrassed, but you stayed because you wanted to be a star. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know one song Cassie sang. I don't remember a film that she's ever been in. So he never made her a star other than for freak offs.
Well, that's what I was saying. So that's why I said I wanted to talk to somebody who went through that, because a lot of people are being on her side because of that. But I guess you opened up our eyes, because you said the same thing. You still love the man. She said the same thing when the defense asked her, did she still love him? And you could tell she had to watch what she was saying, because I believe that she wanted to say that she still loved him, but she couldn't because she's married. So that's why I was like, I need to talk to somebody who's went through this, because I don't get it. Like,
I don't think that's the reason, though, Ro. I think the reason why she can't just say, yes, I still love him, because Cassie doesn't want to admit any of her faults and her accountability. That's where the problem is. Y'all giving her way too much credit and putting way too much on. It's really quite simple. My cousin she's embarrassed. You're embarrassed because you gave up your life for these things. It wasn't really love for him. I think a part of it was love, but the bigger picture was money. It was money. And she in turn played that card when she could. I prefer that she just be a boss and say, check this out. We had this contract. That's aside from my relationship I had with you. It didn't go the way that it should. Thus, I want this money. She could have went from that direction and still she could have got the 30 if she went that direction. But you call yourself trying to humiliate him on the way out. And now that you did all of this stuff, now you can't backpedal and pussy pop, because it went higher than you thought. You thought civil, it's going to sit right here. Now all of this came out and people is telling her shit too. It's a little bit different.
Alondra said we shouldn't judge Cassie. At the end of the day, she's still a victim. However, she isn't all the way innocent. Yeah, that's what but
it's
that's
not
why
about judgment. Yeah,
that's why I'm trying to understand.
Never in life does she deserve the hands. We're gonna keep saying that. I just don't
nobody
believe
deserves to get beat
you
up
deserve the hands.
The elevator
No.
stunt, when she took off running and left, he should have let her leave. Even if she came
Even
back
if she was
tomorrow,
taking something, right?
She was running off drag and leaving you. You should have let her leave. But I'm sorry. At what point, even in my situation, at what point do you say, don't put your hands on me no more? Stop putting your hands on me. I'm not your child. At what point do you start defending yourself? And this also goes for the men that they say he was raping. I know there was oil put on them and everybody was drugged, but when you woke up, none of y'all still don't got no hits.
They wanted the stardom.
They
All of them
wanted the
thus
fame and they
far.
wanted the stardom, but he didn't produce any of them. And you still were continuing to participate because you wanted this stardom and this fame. But now all of these men are like, I'm a man's man. I don't know a man's man that would have woke up in the morning and had been violated and had not whooped Diddy.
I don't either. I don't believe that part, and they haven't
I
proven
don't either.
that. All
Because
of that is
nobody haven't even
allegation.
came on there and said that. Nope.
But
And
we said
all
about
these
Kid Cudi that, bro. We was like, I just don't understand how y'all didn't even hit him back. I think today is the first day they said something about Diddy threw a knife at her and she picked it up and
he
threw
picked
it
it up
back.
and threw it back.
But
Yeah.
how none of these men, he just slapping y'all and doing all of this stuff, and nobody is hitting this man back except the one. Who was that, bro? The guard no, the one that was a stylist or something like that when they jumped on his
On his
back.
back, yeah.
Yeah, only one. I don't know either, cousin.
Not one person defended themselves. Not one, all these videotapes, everybody was recording something, but like no. And then look how he talked to them in interviews. For instance, there was one guy, I think it was Fabulous. He was like, yeah, you looking good, daddy. You know how to
And
do
Fabulous
it,
was so uncomfortable.
I would
He
have
looked
ran.
so uncomfortable. Like you could tell Fabulous wanted to get up out of there. Like he
Yeah.
was, and you could tell Diddy would, now that we know he was on. Like they,
Yeah.
that's why I said I don't know if it with Cassie, if it was because they stayed high all day, every day.
Oh, bro, that answer came out today too. So the girl that they talked to today that did the massive amount of drugs, they asked her that question and she said, I was so high most of the time. A lot of it I couldn't feel. And
Oh
we
yeah, when
just,
they asked her about the balcony thing,
yep,
yeah.
remember?
So
Yeah.
she's so that's what I wonder if that was the case with Cassie. Like she was just high out of her mind so much that she was just numb to everything. I don't know, but that's why
if
but
you
yours
look
is
at a
different
lot
because
of
you
like their
wasn't on
red
drugs.
carpet, if you look at a lot of their red carpet appearances now that it's come out,
She
you
looked like
can see
Morticia Adams.
she was high, and a lot of the time she was stumbling and she was barely making it. He was carrying her a lot. He spoke for her in most of the interviews.
Yeah, we never even heard Cassie talk. He always talked.
I never heard her talk.
Never.
Yeah.
And
she did talk. He was looking
control
at her.
thing.
Yeah,
And-
when somebody would ask her a question, he would be looking at her
Like
you
he was
better say the right
nervous of
thing.
what she might say.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now
And
that
I will add that in my situation, I began taking a lot of Xanax, a lot of Lortabs to downplay my emotion. So I had gotten to where I was numb, that all I wanted to do, I was going to school then. I didn't care what he did. I just got to finish school. I didn't care how I got to school because the police had impounded my car. I just wanted to finish school. I was basically a walking zombie because the more stuff he did to me, the more I self-medicated.
It's the same thing
And
with him.
You think that helped you stay a little bit longer?
Yeah, because I would stay, I would come home and I would take the pills, take a shower, cook, and come straight to my room. I couldn't tell you what went on in the rest of my house. Somebody could be sleeping up there with him and I would have never known, because that's how I dealt with what I was going through, because I thought I was having a mental breakdown because someone that loves you doesn't treat you this way. So where is the person that loved me that would never treat me this way? So then I start asking, are you on drugs? Are you on high? Are you high? Why are you beating on me? And then he started to smoke K2 and it got worse and it got worse. And I remember I called my first husband And I said, he is over here jumping on me. And my first husband came over here and he made him touch every wall in this house. And he told him, don't hit her no more. And I took sides. I told him that's enough. Don't hit my husband no more.
I have
And
one last question, cousin.
hmm
So you told us these things, and by that I mean family, and you know how we feel.
hmm
Um, but you just said you might have went back. Does that play a big role in that your family is scared? Your family doesn't want that for you. Your family will ride for you. This doesn't have to happen. Why isn't that enough that we don't want you to be like going through that?
so the tan, y'all know, in California is I'm a sweet person. The family here knows that back then, let's clarify. Back
Right.
then I was very violent. I was very aggressive. And so in their eyes, I would initiate it. Tan did it. Tan started it. That boy would never, because people never saw in the public him act that way, but they
Right.
saw me acting that way. Alondra K2 is, I'm gonna call it the potpourri that they were smoking to
Synthetic weed.
be able to get
Oh,
high
It's synthetic
so
weed.
that they could test negative on parole.
But it make you crazy. That
It makes you
K2,
crazy.
it has you hallucinating and everything.
And the
oh, that's
high
the
on
videos
this
where you see the
grass,
people in the street and all of that stuff, and
Yeah, they sell K2 like at the smoke shops and stuff. It's synthetic weed. It
and the
won't
high
show up
on
at
these
all.
last 10 to 15 minutes, and he would literally smoke like 32 would be in the ashtray back to back to back. He would lose his jobs because he's smoking them on their jobs. And on one of his oil field sites, they had a man that was eating a dog. The dog was out there and he had smoked the K2 and he was eating the dog. So they called the safety man out and they drug tested everyone out there and everyone was negative.
Yep. It don't
So
come up in it don't come up in
no, it
nothing.
doesn't
It
come
you
up in
be
your system.
clean.
not blood, hair, nothing.
Nothing.
But it makes
Nothing.
that bit bad of a Jesus.
You
And
would
it does cause mental health issues.
yeah. You'll be
Um,
running around naked and everything. You
mhm.
hallucinating
I've
everything.
seen
That's
it
when
on
you start talking
TV.
about
And he could
Jesus and
never,
everything.
once he started smoking the K2, he could never remember doing any of those things to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to start
Wow.
recording it, showing it to him.
So
But
you could, damn, how do you fight something that they don't even remember? So they really are sick.
Yeah.
mhm, yeah.
Okay. That was my,
And it take a long time for that to get out your system too. That K2. It takes
Yeah.
a long time.
But I was able to get past it. I have not. That's the first thing I ask someone on a date is, do you fight women? And I do let them know it. I hit back.
I was gonna ask you that. How did it affect your relationships going forward with other men after that?
Um, Going forward, I began to date men that they're violent and aggressive, but not towards me. They were like that with other people because they made me feel safe. Because if a man would be like that with someone else, they're going to always protect me. Because remember, this man couldn't protect me. I
right,
protected him. I
right.
provided him with security. So I began to choose men that I knew could protect me and provide me with the security that I needed. But there would be a time if they reach out to hug me, I would kind of flinch because I would think they're going to hit me and they would be like, baby, I'm not going to hit you.
Maybe he was insecure about not being able to protect you as well, because he had to know your reputation. Maybe that contributed to him putting his
Well,
hands
he
on you.
told me, he said, you made me street famous. He said, when people figured out that I was with you, you gave me a name and you made me street famous. And I said, the same way I gave it, I can take it back. He didn't believe me. So that's why now he's at a place where he can barely function. He's fallen off in his life, and he doesn't live the same lifestyle that he was able to live when we were together.
I don't know why people test certain people. Certain people, their family don't play. I mean, they got
What
a
would
different
you
bloodline.
what would you tell a woman if you could tell, like, going through what you went through? What would you tell a woman to avoid? Like
I,
how to
I I would tell them in the beginning, never tell a man what you want in a
Mm,
man and what you expect in a man, because they're gonna give you the representative, because you've already given them the blueprint. Once you give
right.
them the blueprint, they're going to give you what they need from you to make you fall in love. And by then you're trapped and you're obsessed, and and that type of love becomes an addiction. You crave it, you want it all the time, and the whole plot to the twist is you gave him all the information to
Mm-hmm.
get you.
Yeah.
And then when the real him comes out, you're so far gone, you're unable to just
walk
walk away.
away.
And it's a trap. Like when someone asks me, tell me what you want in a man, and I said, show me what you have to offer. When you tell
That's a
me
good
to
answer.
bring something to the table, tell me what you bring to the table. My conversation, it's hard for me to date someone now because I don't have conversation. I need to wait to see who's gonna show up, the real him or the person you setting me up to meet.
I would have to say that's true. I would think that if it, it was a period where we were taught you guys don't speak up, you don't say what you want, you don't put it out there. That's probably your early 30s. And I think each one of us could think of a horror story of us telling this man what we wanted, and they really did all of those things. And then they fell off to a point where it made them argue with us or be angry or resent us. And then, you love that I was this amazing professional. And then all of a sudden, bitch, you on a high horse, you need to come down. They treat us different. Like you said, their real person comes out.
The real
But you
person.
acted like you loved all that to begin with.
I've
Now,
never been with a man
something
that
like
calls
that.
me bitches and hoes. I've never
I've
been
never
through
been
that
called a
kind of
bitch.
stuff. So when that person came out, I would be like, stop talking to me like that. And it would become more and more and more. So then my self-esteem is gone. I have no self-confidence. Um, I have no respect for myself, because I'm the person that said, I wish somebody would, but I'm the same person now that's telling you that I ran into a cabinet and hit myself in the eye. So it's it's easy to say I wouldn't tolerate it. It's easy to say nobody bet not ever.
Right.
But once you actually live in it, it's different.
I
It's
think at the
really
beginning, you're probably catching yourself like, did this really just happen? I think if you don't leave the first time it happens, it becomes
Mm,
increasingly hard.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
because that's why I'm scared. If that ever happened, I would call my cousins, I would call I would call whoever I needed to call that's in my circle that I trust. I would call y'all immediately so that I could leave, because now I said it out loud. That's the one thing I'm very, very, very afraid of.
I was embarrassed. I
Oh,
never
And
told
people
anybody.
don't real. Oh no. People don't realize DV is in mental welfare as
right.
physical. A lot of times, the abuser breaks down your self-esteem so low that they trap you and keep you there.
Oh,
And I was embarrassed because
okay.
in our little community, I am somebody. And I was embarrassed that I chose this type of man. I married this type of man. And I was embarrassed. I never told anybody. I just, I hid it all the time. Um, I remember going to work and having a black eye, and my glasses had a little crack in it, and they were like, "Tan, is your eye black?" And I was like, "The sun went through my glasses and burned my eye." The crazy part is the doctor said, "Yeah, that does happen. So you need to get a shade lens and put it over your eye." I truly became the battered woman, and I started making up excuses for why these things happened to me. Now, when I became the abuser, there was no excuse. Tan, what happened to your hair? I whooped his ass at the gas station. Tan, where's your car? I ran him over. I didn't have a problem with telling them what I had done because, once again, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I had to get my revenge for
Cousin.
all the years that you drugged me.
So I was telling Ro, this is the cousin. I didn't tell you who it was. This is the cousin that ran up. Can you tell that story before we wrap up of why you ran him over?
I ran him over because um, he had a best friend, and his best friend took really good care of me when he went to prison. So he starts dating his best friend's girlfriend when he get out, and they're riding around in my truck. So the truck hasn't been paid in months. So when I came home and he had thrown my nephew's things out in the front yard and said that if he can't stay here, nobody can stay here. So I just happened to pull up beside them at the red light downtown, and I said, "Get out of my car." And when I opened the door, the girl was driving my car. So he jumps out and leaves the girl and takes off running. So I pulled the keys out the ignition and I whooped her, and I proceeded to chase him downtown. Well, this man in a Hummer came, and he said, "Get in the car. The police are coming." So as I'm turning the corner, he's coming around the corner because he thinks I'm gone. So I ran his ass over. And I ran him over again. And I went and parked my car. The man in the Hummer took me back to my truck. And I took my truck and I went and hid it. And me and the man in the Hummer went back and got my car. And I went on to celebrate Juneteenth as if nothing ever happened.
This is crazy. You do need to write a book, like my cousin said. She's Alondra said, "I'm so glad you got out of that. Thank you for sharing." Juanita said, "Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your journey." Like, this is,
yes,
you do need to write a book. Like, you will have a number
I
one.
did. I actually started, but it started breaking open wounds that I had suppressed. But as I thought about it, that's good therapy because it's a lot that I've never told, and my story could help someone else.
It could help a lot
realize
of people
what they're going through.
Yeah, that can really help a lot of people. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on. Like, this
Domestic Violence Month is again in October, right?
Yeah, it's again in October, and I do have marches for not for domestic violence survivors, but overcomers, because we're survivors when we're leaving. But once you get past it and you begin to grow, you overcome, and that's a part of your life you've moved on from. You don't
So will you
tolerate.
come back and do one more show with each of us in October? Can we schedule you now?
Oh, yeah.
You're
That
right.
would be great.
Let me see if I had this thing on here. This is for the domestic violence hotline. I kept it on here. So what this is national. So 1-800-799-7233. So if you guys ever have any domestic violence problems, you can give that a call. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm just at a loss of words still.
You're welcome.
And I never be at a loss of words.
She don't.
I don't even know what
I told you it would be a little twist. I told you it was going to be a little twist.
And thank y'all for waiting on me. I am so sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. And I look forward to October because I need them to hear the rest of the stories. Because every victim has a different story. It looks different, and they're still a victim. This is what it is, but it gets deep. And I think people don't realize you might have a smaller thing like a cheating or a man who gambles and spends all of your money and you know, but put yourself in their shoes. Stop looking at other people like because the devil you chose in a relationship is a little bit different. He said, well, I couldn't do that one and somebody couldn't do yours. Have compassion for people at the end of the day and take accountability so we can get stronger.
And no judgment. No judgment because you don't know what that person has been through, because men are also, as I said, I became the aggressor, so men are also victims of domestic violence.
Ooh, so thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and thank you so much, Tam, for coming on. Like, this was really good.
Well, thank
I
y'all
still
for
in my
having
mind
me.
don't look. I'm like, I still in my mind don't understand, but I guess I will never understand because I haven't went through it. But at least you shed light on somebody else that went through. You went through basically almost the same thing and let us know why she did the things that she did or why she kept going back. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. Like, thank you a lot.
Well, you're welcome. And I'll see you ladies in October. Asia, I hope to see you sooner.
You will see me sooner, cousin. I'm coming out there.
Okay. All right. Y'all have a good
Thank
one.
you guys for tuning in tonight, and make sure you like the live and tell everybody else about it. Oh shoot.
What
Did
happened?
I go off? I don't know,
you are
man.
off. Okay, you're back.
Yes. Okay, look. Good night, you guys, because I'm doing
Good night.
stuff. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.